podcast. My name is Carrie, otherwise known as Colorado Knits, and welcome to my mess of a craft cave right now. Today is Friday, March 3rd, 2023. It's been about 4 weeks since I last recorded because February was awful. I mean, it wasn't awful. Nothing tragic happened, thankfully. It was just exhausting. Work was off the charts. So I didn't have the energy to barely do anything for the entire month other than my work and making dinner and going to bed. So I'm back. So if you're new here, I try to podcast every 2 weeks. And I feel like I have schmutz on my face, but that's just me being old. I try to podcast about every 2 weeks, talking about my yarny adventures, and maybe my dogs and maybe some beer or something. I have no dogs in here. They're in the other room. That's what I was looking around for. You can like and subscribe and all that stuff. And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at Colorado Knits. I have a website that I sometimes update at coloradoknits.net. And you can email me at hello@coloradoknits.net. So if you're new, thanks for joining. If you're coming back, thanks for returning. I've got things to catch up on. We wrapped up Finish It February. I think I've never podcast. I think I've never done this because I have no words today. We wrapped up Finish It February, and I finished just about every whip that I consider a real whip. Even one that I wasn't even planning on attempting to knit. So very excited about that. And so with that, I guess we will get into it. Finished objects. I have this stack of finished objects over here. Oh, they're kind of heavy. That's a lot of stuff. I'm going to start with the most basic thing. Yeah. My best friend, I mentioned this before, her grandmother used to make her dishcloths, and she loved them, and Granny passed, and so I filled the gap by making her these dishcloths. And so it was 2 years ago, I think I made them for her birthday. I made a ton. I made like 13 or 14 of them, and I made a cute little basket to put them in. And now those are dead, so she needs new ones, and so I said for Christmas I would make them. That didn't happen. So I am finally getting around to making them. So my first finished object for Finish It February is not even for her, but it's a dishcloth. Very exciting. It's made with Knit Picks Dishy. I got a cone of this during the big sale for like $5. And I thought I would try the no holes version. And it's okay. It's fine. It's a dishcloth. Nobody really cares. She's not weird, my best friend. She just is very particular. She likes the white dishcloths or off-white, like cream dishcloths with yarn overs, which I don't like the yarn overs. And then she likes them in a flower shape and a heart shape. Because what I did is I made like 7 regular dishcloths and then 7 festive dishcloths. So her birthday is next week, but she's not going to get them for that, and I already let her know that. But I'm going to whip some of those out between projects, hopefully. So woohoo, I did a dishcloth. Also, I have 2 huge cones of Dishy. I have it in that green, and then as well I have it in a natural. So I need to just weigh how much that is, wind that off, and carry it around in a bag. So when we go to the brewery, that's something I can work on. Then I had a crazy hankering. This is a finished object, but it's not even from Finished Object February. Like, this was not a whip. I just needed to knit this. I had a hankering to knit a cowl. It got really cold and I walked the dogs and I thought, oh, a cowl would be great. And all the cowls I have are like big. You have to wrap them around twice. So I'm like, I want one of those, like the Snuggle is Real, where I have mohair and wool, and it's like lined with mohair and all that stuff. And then reality set in, and I didn't want to knit a lining with mohair, and I just really wanted a quick knit cowl. So I ordered from Jimmy Bean's Wool some, I don't know what oh, look at that. I have it right here. I might even have the pattern because I couldn't remember the name of the pattern. Oh, I do. the pattern, sometimes I amaze myself. The pattern is the Astra Cowl by Amba O'Brien, and it is DK weight cowl, and I use Barocco Ultra Wool DK, and I did it in a navy and a cream color, and then I added in some mohair. Don't have the tag to the mohair, but it's like Monet sort of water lily colors. You can't even see it in my final object, but I love it anyway. I did the contrast color, the white, the cream, I did with the mohair, and nothing to write home about. It's a cowl. My neck is fairly sensitive, but this is fine because I'm only walking for like half an hour with the dogs, and it's pretty comfy. Now, this has been sitting up here in my, I call it a cave, even though it's on the top floor of the house, in my craft cave, because I wanted to show it on the podcast. And meanwhile, it dropped below 0 and was windy and gross for weeks, and I haven't worn it. So now I can put it in the dog walk accoutrement basket, and I will have it. And it's really comfy, actually. Even though, like I said, I have a fairly sensitive skin on my neck, it's pretty good. So there's that. The Astra Cowl by Amba O'Brien. There's a hat pattern with it. I downloaded and purchased like 30 different cowl patterns when I knew the look I wanted. I wanted it to be somewhat mindless. I didn't want to have to think too much about the stitch pattern. And then I like that it's really hard to see, but you can see my hair. You can see the little bit of variegation from that mohair. So, all right, that was object number 2. Doing all the tiny things. The third thing was, and these are filthy because I literally just walked outside in them, so don't judge me. I had one, now we're getting into like FOs. So I had one of my slipper socks made in Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. I had one finished, and all I needed to do was do another. And they take maybe 90 minutes for me to do because they're on huge needles. They're a variation on the Turkish bed socks pattern. So I knit a second, and I wear these constantly, and I love them because they're machine wash and dry. They are acrylic with some superwash wool. They are warm, and they're so easy to make. So I have 2 pair, and I will invariably be making more. Turns out I found a couple of skeins of Thick and Quick as well. So I may make a pair that will not show dirt as much as those. Because when you go to take the garbage cans out and you're in your slipper socks, they get filthy. This is sort of like newest whip to oldest whip, kind of. So the next thing I will show is my finished habitation throw with a set of minis that Jen Study sent me for our holiday advent swap. I made it a little bit, I didn't really make it any larger, but I don't think that all of her minis were exact, which is the whole point. It was absolutely fine. I loved knitting it, but once you got to the downhill, when you start the decreases, I just wanted to finish. And I love it, and it still needs to be washed and blocked, although I don't block blankets, really, come on. And it's garter, so it's gonna stretch anyway, but it needs to be washed for the sake of the puppy hair that is in it. So love it. Oh, it's so squishy. I keep one of these in my office, my home office, for my lap, and I may throw this one up here, although I might rearrange my home office today. The next finished object, this is my Let's Go Hunting shawl, otherwise known as the Sassy Spirit shawl. No, this is not Sassy Spirit. This is Mini Me by Cozy Up Knits. And this shawl is reversible. And I made this using Always Be Kind yarn and her 2022 holiday countdown kit. And I used 10 minis in it, and I love it. These oranges are very bright, and then it goes into the yellows, the greens, blues, purple, pink. And I added a section to it because I wanted to use 10 different colors. So I added a section. If I had known that maybe I didn't need that section, it was a mystery knit along, maybe I would have only done one orange, because orange, not my fave color. But it definitely adds pop when I add it in. So I love this. It is soft, it is squishy, and it's bright. And I wear a lot of gray and stuff, so it's always nice. However, as I mentioned, I work from home, so I rarely wear anything. Sometimes on a conference call, I'll remember to put a shawl on. So again, that's the Mini Me MCal by Cozy Up Knits. It was super fun. And it is enough that you don't get bored. It changes so often. Sometimes you want that very standard knitting, and sometimes you want to mix it up a little. I'm a process knitter, so I like standard boring knitting. I'm trying to see if I can find, here they are. Told you, my craft room is a mess. I did finish my black and gold socks. These are Artistic Yarn by Abby in the color Steampunk. Probably like 2 years old from her monthly club. And they have this beautiful stellina, so they're nice and sparkly. Came with this really bright yellow mini. Abby tends to coordinate her minis, not match her minis. I have this very bright tropical rainbow colored one that has a brown mini with it. And I don't see that because I'm not good with color theory, but they always come out looking just fine. I did a folded hem. These were toe up, fish lips kiss heel, and a folded hem. So my usual sock recipe, and now I get to wear these because I've shared them. These are for my University of Colorado. Our colors are silver and gold. I know this is kind of bronze, but silver and gold. But everybody thinks that we're black and gold, or black and yellow even. But technically our colors are silver and gold. And then this has been on the needles the longest. I cast this on in March of last year. And this is the Sassy Spirit wrap by Megan Williams of Just Run Knit. And I'm using the Sheepyshire and then some random speckled I have that might be Hobby Lobby yarn that someone gave me. But I love how it came out and I love how it looks. This unique construction, so it's got the little thing so it stays around your neck. And then you can decide how you would like to wrap it or wear it or whatever you're gonna do. It was a fun knit. It just stalled out. And I used all of the blue, all of it, because I wanted to. And then I even had to break into another bit of the speckles at the end. It just coordinated so absolutely perfectly. I couldn't not use it. And when you look at it, just occurred to me, this is not the Sassy Spirit that this is not my Sassy Spirit. I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is, this one was made with Always Be Kind yarn. That's Making Connections. Here is my Sassy Spirit. My apologies, I'm like, that yarn does not match at all. This is my Sassy Spirit. So this was a collection by Megan Williams, Just Run It, of the stockinette zombies. And she did, I think, 4 of these unique construction wraps. And this one is made with the Sheepyshire, which is this blue. I think it's called Obladia Oblada. Could be wrong. And then this again is that speckled that it just feels like that 100% superwash from Hobby Lobby. My mom's friend gave me a bunch of them. So, and what I love about this, in addition to, I showed you the styling on my, that one was called Making Connections. But what I love is that it's got the different patterns on the different side of the center spine there. So you do different things, and it isn't exactly a center spine, but you do different things on each end. This one I made a little longer because I wanted to use, as I mentioned, all of the Sheepyshire. And there you go. This is one of the few striped projects that have not driven me batty. I don't love doing stripes. I really want a Vertices Unite. I don't want to knit all the stripes in it. And in part, I think it was the construction. There's this little I-cord edging, and I love that. It's not real I-cord, it's like a faux I-cord. And that's the same thing on the habitation throw. I really like that edging. It's just so much cleaner. It hides where you're switching the colors. So the stripes come out a little cleaner that way to me. But love this. And now I need to actually, again, like the other ones, I need to wear it. And my final, kind of next to final, but my final finished object was the one for Finish It February I did not even have on my radar. I did not think I was going to, sorry, my dog has just taken my workout tights and is deciding to, oh, he's going to come in here and bury them, I think. He likes to grab dirty laundry. Here he comes. Here comes Larry. You can see his tail. No, he doesn't want to be on camera. So this I started, this is the arcade shawl, and it is by Katie Carroll. And she has Katinka Designs on Ravelry. And I saw this shawl at Zombie Knit Apocalypse last year. Can't remember whose booth it was in. It was not in Three Irish Girls, but I saw it and was like, I need that shawl. And oh, there's Larry with my tights in his mouth. And so I bought some, I could not stay out of the Three Irish Girls booth at Zombie Knit Apocalypse last year. There's only one Irish girl working there now, but could not stay out of the booth. I bought so much yarn from her. I just fell in love with everything she had, and I had to have it. And I really fell in love with this yarn called, with this colored called Tits Up. And it is a speckle, and I'm a sucker for a speckle, and I want all the things in this color. And then I chose what I thought was a blue, and when I look at it in this light, it's very blue, but when I take it downstairs into my living room, it is purple. And I didn't really realize that, but so this is, I want to do it without showing the whole pattern. That is the arcade shawl. And it is big. It says it used one skein of, oh no, main color 735 yards, contrasting color 365. I'm not sure that I use those amounts, but it's big. It's big and it's lovely. And it is all an optical illusion or an obstacle illusion, depending how you want it to be. It is all just slip stitches. So it's knits, purls, and slips. There's no color work here. There's nothing. If you have like a Miss Babs skein or something, you would never have ends to weave in. I was able to do this because you carry the colors. I had 6 ends to weave in. I can't do math. 8 ends to weave in. And I did that last night without a problem, and then washed and blocked it. The color did not run, this bright purple. Really didn't run. I threw a color catcher when I soaked it. And the color catcher had some blues, blacks, and reds can always run. But man, it is huge. It is comfy. It is, my husband saw it blocking. He's like, that is beautiful. And it is. And the Three Irish Girls yarn is really lightweight. It is, it's like an 80-20, I think. And it's still just, I don't know, it feels lovely. And maybe that's because it's stockinette, so it's not squishy. But highly recommend this arcade shawl. It's paid for pattern on Ravelry. And then I was looking at her site yesterday. She has a bunch of really cute shawls, so I may be looking at more. So that leads me to my last finished object. Let me say it again. My month was crazy. And so last Saturday, I had a couple of more grants I had to submit on Monday and Tuesday, but through Friday, I was just zonk. So I was gonna go meet my knitting friends and decided I can't. I just need to chill. And my husband was out of town. My mother was out of town. They're never out of town simultaneously, because whenever my husband's out of town, my mom's like, let's go to the museum. Let's do this. Let's do that. And so I didn't have to, not that I don't like going to the museum. I had no obligations. So I installed some lights in my knitting room, and then I putzed around on my sock machine, and I made an attempt at some fingerless mitts. My hands, I don't know why I made them so long down here, but my hands get so cold when I'm working. And so I just threw these together on the machine, looked at some patterns, but kind of just played it by ear. And this is using Lion brand sockies, and I don't know the color, but oh, I love it. I've got some waste yarn here where I need to just finish up oh, yep, Larry is burying my clothes in my knitting chair. So I need to pick up this and just knit it with, knit some ribbing for that, and you sew up the thumb. I'm trying to show you something you can't see. I would probably make my thumb gusset bigger next time. And then here right now it's just rolled because I just took it off the circular sock machine, and I think I'm gonna knit a couple of rows of ribbing just to tighten it around my fingers. So I did 2 of those because they're a pair. The second one came out a little tighter than the first, probably because I was more comfortable with what I was doing. But again, I think I'm gonna make them bigger. I'm also thinking I may just make a slit and not a thumb gusset, and then just do a thumb, because it's just not totally clean. But for this, the first one took me 13 minutes. So for an hour's work on my CSM to get a project done was absolutely wonderful. So I think, well, that was a lot of finished objects because it was finished in February. Like when I will not lie, I did not finish this until March 2nd, but when I bound this off last night, I was like, I have nothing. I have a ton of whips, but none that are like really whips that I feel compelled to finish. So I have a few things I'm frogging. I have a few like socks that have been sitting around. Like I have a socks on a plane, which is a simple cable sock that I've been working on for years, that either I need to frog or do something with. Now onto my works in progress. I need to finish up those fingerless gloves. I need to seam them up so that I have them. And now I have a recipe for my sock machine. And the only other whip I have, we are 23 minutes in and I'm talking all about finished objects. The only other whip I have is my Always Be Kind yarn Hello Spring countdown. And this is a countdown that started March 1st to March 21st, spring countdown. And I ordered the whole kit and caboodle. It comes with a pair of pre-caked 115 total weight of yarn, 115 grams. So that's going to be at least 2 pairs of socks for me, probably 3. I will probably get a full length pair, a pair of shorties, and a pair of Turkish bed socks. And it also came with 2 mini skeins, which are crocus colors of purple and green. And so I am through day 2. I did a very long folded cuff. My sock machine, I do 30 rows of a folded cuff, so 15 and 15. So I decided to try that on my hand knits. I used to do 18 total rows instead of 30. So we'll see how that goes. I'm in today, here's a spoiler alert, today's color is this beautiful speckles of, well, not speckles, it's almost like a faux fair isle of green and purple. So I'm excited about that. That is the only thing I have on my needles other than those fingerless gloves. So, excuse me, I am a loud sneezer. My friend and I were talking about, like, she's like, why do men have to be loud sneezers? I was like, I'm a really loud sneezer. So I apologize. So up next, knitting all the things. Now that everything is off of my needles, it's time to put some stuff on my needles. And I've sort of said I want to have a shawl, a sweater, and socks. So I have socks. However, I might wind up a skein. I was thinking about winding up a skein of 3 Irish Girls that I have, and one of her Pride colorways, and throw that on as a single sock because I'm doing those in tandem. So for shawl, I'm about to cast on the Tahoe shawl. I apologize for the not great photo there. And this is by Michelle Bernard of Get Knit Faced in Colorado. I talked about this last week, that was 4 weeks ago. I'm going to do the exact shawl that she made when she test knit for herself. And this is using Agnostic and Love is in the Air. And it's a 2 skein shawl, and her fingering is pretty thick. It's nice. So I'm excited to knit that up. So that is the first thing. I'm going to wind this up when I hit stop today and start and bag this up so I have it. The other thing I really want to make are a bunch of baskets. And this is sort of, you know what, I'm not going to talk about that yet because that's going to segue into acquisitions. So the next thing on my, I'm just looking around at this chaos that is my life right now. Larry did not help things. I intend to cast on, I showed this last time too. This is Lemonade Shop. This is Toxic Oreo. I have lusted after this color for some time, 5-7 years. So I finally bought a sweaters quantity a couple months ago. It's going to be a pavement. And last time I could not remember who did the pavement. It's Vera Valimaki. It's a fingering weight, simple raglan sweater. Excuse me, my nose is running too. Good Lord, I'm a mess today. And obviously I mentioned dishcloths. I got to get the dishcloths done. She has to get her birthday gift at least within a month of her birthday. And then also casting on the Night Owl using Knit Picks Wonder Fluff. And you'll say, well, that's familiar. Didn't you already make a Night Owl? And I did, using Knit Picks Wonder Fluff in a soft pink. And now I'm going to use this turquoise heather. So I have to, technically I've cast on and knit like 3 rows of that. So it is a whip, but it's not really a whip. And then I guess we'll talk about the blankets and the home items I want, because that rolls straight into acquisitions. So I'm gonna wipe my nose, I apologize. It's allergy season here in Colorado. So when I finished these slippers, I realized how much I love this colorway. It's called Hudson Bay. And if you know the Hudson Bay blanket, I am a sucker for Hudson Bay Company. I checked with my Indigenous friends and a bunch of Canadians to see if Hudson Bay Company, if they're horrible people and I really shouldn't be happy to be representing them. But it turns out they actually treated Indigenous people with some respect. They were traders and trappers. So they're not held in disregard in Canada. But what I do love, can't deny, their colorways are beautiful. Their traditional colors are a cream, either cream gray or black, but usually it's cream with a blue, a red, a green, and gold. And so you can see that in this, and you can see it in the slippers. I also made a ribbon wrap a few years ago using gray and then all these colors. I want my whole house to be Hudson's Bay colors if I could redecorate my whole house. I'm not sure my husband would want me to be that Canadian, but whatever. So I had a discount at Lion Brand. They were having a sale. And I was thinking to myself, I ordered some sock yarn from Lion Brand like a month and a half ago and it still hasn't come. So I'm just going to order this, and when it comes, it comes. Oh, I'm lying. It was Joann's that had a sale. So it was Joann's, and they were having a huge sale on yarn, and I think I had a discount. Oh, yeah, I had a pickup discount if I drove down and picked it up. So I bought some woolies, and I'm thinking I'll make some baskets. because I'm a sucker for home baskets, like rope baskets. So I saw some patterns and I saw people who made them with woolies. And right now my meta moment is that I have a basket of yarn to make baskets. The other thing I intend to make with these, and winter's gonna be over by the time I do it, but I have a pattern for 3-hour, I just keep showing you this yarn because I love it, for 3-hour mittens from Jess at Make and Do Crew and their crochet mittens. And I think you may use 2 strands of this held together. But I need mittens. My gloves, those little stretchy gloves you get at like Target that I walk my dogs with, they have holes in the index fingers, which would be great if I needed my phone while I was walking my dogs, but I don't. I need my fingers to be warm. So mittens it shall be, and they're 3-hour mittens. So I need to print out the pattern and maybe cast these on this weekend, because again, it's only March here, and it used to be March and April were our snowiest months. They're not anymore, but it does get cold. And I walk the dogs at 5 in the morning, so it's cold, and daylight savings time is coming, so the sun is going to come up later, right? Which doesn't matter to me because it's dark anyway when we walk, but so it's just going to be colder. Looking forward to that. All things Hudson Bay. So while we're talking about acquisitions and all things Hudson Bay, I did make an order from Lion Brand Yarn because they were having a clearance, and even their clearance was on clearance. So I ordered some Hudson Bay yarn from Lion Brand, the mandala, and it is, I look at it there and it's very rainbowy, but then you look at the stripes on the actual packaging and it looks pretty cool. I don't know what this is going to be. I bought 4 of these. So I think I'm going to make a blanket of some sort, probably going to do a granny stripe blanket. And this is like, mandala is like a DK. I was going to add in another stripe of something, but I don't think I'm even going to bother based on how this stripes up. I was going to do like one of white, and then I'm like, that's so much white. I don't want a white blanket. And then I didn't like black. I already have gray. So I think I'm just going to do it straight up. And that'll be a crochet project. So I bought a bunch of those, and I mentioned I like baskets. Everything I bought from Lion that time was on clearance. They have these cute felt baskets that you assemble yourself. So they're very basic, and they're polyester felt. They are not wool felt, but these are so cool, and I could make these as gifts as well. Like if I wanted to eventually make some super cute, using a bulky wool, you could make something like this and felt it. But I have a ton of these for all of my whips. So I bought those. Those were a steal. They were like $6.99 for 3 baskets. So I bought 6 baskets. What else? As long as we're on my Lion Brand kick, they had a sale, I think it was like the first week of January, and you could get 6 balls of sakis for $30. And that was like $30 all in. I swear I wasn't charged tax or shipping or anything. And their sakis, I used to use years ago when I started knitting socks, I used their Magic Stripes. And their Magic Stripes is very much more a sport weight. I tried to knit socks on my sock machine using this old yarn. And while I could, it was too thick. The Dean & Bean Pinky Tuscadero over there is really designed for fingering weight only. You can't really loosen the tension and I saw someone did a DK. I did not see a DK happening on mine, but you can do sport, but I just didn't love it. So when I got this, I was very happy to see it's just a traditional fingering weight yarn. And this, it is a 75-25. It is less rustic than it used to be. It is a little rough, but like I said, I made these fingerless gloves out of one of the colors, and I don't know the color and I love it. But they do this yarn and then they discontinue it, and then they start it up. It's like Felici that way, but it is much less often So I kind of binged and I bought 5 balls. And as you can see, I already made one, but I bought this is Martini. This may be my favorite one. This is Manhattan. This is Mojito. So we are going with all drinks. And this is Cosmo. I really am curious if I have that. You guys have seen a lot of my back and my butt today. Sakis, I have it right here. And this one was Last Word. I don't think that's a drink. All the rest were drinks. So I have 4 more of those to knit up. These are great on the machine. They knit up beautifully, and the gauge on my sock machine is nice and tight. But, and that was the whole purpose of buying the sock machine, was to knit down my stash and maybe not keep adding to it. But wait, we're not done yet. I didn't mean to acquire all of this, really. When I was ordering from Jimmy Bean's Wool, raise your hand if you do this. Oh, you only need to spend $12 to get free shipping. Shipping is only like $6, but if I spend $12, it'll be free. That is some messed up psychology, but it gets me a lot. So when I ordered the stuff for my cowl, I think I was super close to free shipping, or I had points or something. I don't know. So they had a Pride, set that they had marketed. And this is a hat kit, and I'm a sucker for a kit as well. And it is the Wear It, Be It hat by Amy Gunderson. And it is a colorwork hat. And it came with the pattern download, as well as 2 pre-caked things. So outside of having to download the pattern, but I look at these, and yes, it's a hat. I might make it into a headband, but I'm just not sure. I absolutely love it. I'll get it a little closer so you can see those colors. Just super bright. They're bright, but they're kind of jewel tones. They're not rainbowy. And I'm looking forward to knitting that. That was like $15, so it was really hard to resist, knowing the pattern would be $6. And this is probably $10 worth of yarn at least. So that came with my Jimmy Beans. And then really, I think this, oh, it's not my final thing. I'll go to this one. My monthly yarn club came from Apple Yarns. And sorry for crinkling. My garbage isn't over here. This is Emma's yarn, and this is Crazy Beautiful Color, Practically Perfect Sock. And it is a Tweedy light blue sock. And it's got a little bit of lavender in it. It's January 23 is the colorway. And it is an 80-20, 400 yards, so it's gonna make some nice thick socks. Might also make a nice hat, but I gotta give up on this hat. I don't wear hats that often, so I've got this thing about hats, but I don't wear them. So love that. This is from Apple Yarns out of Bellingham, Washington, and it's a monthly club that I'm a member of. They sometimes do their own yarn, Apple Fiber Studio, which I really love. I love Emma's, don't get me wrong. Emma's is the yarn that introduced me to Apple Yarn Studios because I ordered a kit, and Emma is only wholesale, so she will sell to the, she will package things, sell them, and then she actually, it's like drop shipping on them. She's sending them out a lot. So, looking forward to making something in that. The final acquisition. Final. This, I know this will come as a surprise to everyone. This is from Always Be Kind Yarn. There's going to be some crinkling. This is the Family Jewels Advent. So I did the 24 20-gram skeins from Always Be Kind Yarn for this year's Advent for 22. For 21 and 22, both of which I knit up. And Laura was having a sale, and so this is for her family jewels, the silver, gold, ruby, amethyst, sapphire, and emerald. And you get a maid stain, which against the cream-colored whitish background, really stunning, but they're also somewhat dual-toned. I have something that I even like the red, and I don't like it. So I'm very excited about this. These are 75, 25, all of it. And I have an idea of this shawl I'm going to do. But it's going to go in the stash for right now. It was on sale. It was my friend Laura. I was buying the socks anyway, the spring socks. So I figured it would be fine. So that's all of the things that I have knit, the things I'm making, the things I need to make with all the yarn I bought. And now it's kind of like that life update thing. So if you're done with knitting and you want to leave, thank you so much. I will be back and I will continue to make progress on things. So I don't have to wait a month and talk for 41 minutes about knitting. If you're on the treadmill or something, I hope it kept you coming. So life update. There really is not much of a life update. I celebrated a birthday and my sister came to town. So that was very nice. I got to see my sister and she brought me a lovely little birthday. It was very funny. My family has no inkling about how much yarn costs. I think my mom does. My dad, stepmom, sister, brother-in-law, no clue whatsoever. So I was sitting at the table working on a pair of socks, which I left at their house. And my brother-in-law's like, you should make a business out of this. And I can see you all like laughing or rolling your eyes. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't happen. And last year, not 2022, 2021 for Christmas, I made my sister, my niece, my brother-in-law, my mother, and my stepmother all socks out of Always Be Kind yarn. We lost my sister's son to suicide. And so the mission of Always Be Kind yarn and suicide prevention has always resonated with me. And so my sister said, oh, Harry wants a pair of socks for Christmas, her husband. And so I'm like, all right, I'll make everybody socks. My sister-in-law, my brother's wife, is allergic to wool, so she didn't get a pair of socks. But all the women and then Harry got socks, and they had no idea that socks gains are $30. Absolutely no clue. And I'm like, yeah, the yarn alone's $35 when you add in shipping and stuff. And I'm like, that doesn't take into account my time. I did not tell them I have a sock machine. But I was like, yeah, no, I'm not selling socks. So it was kind of funny. My sister's like, $35. And then she bought me a designer sweatshirt. Did you know there are such things? A designer sweatshirt she bought me for my birthday that was 3 figures for a sweatshirt. So I love my sister and I really appreciate it, but as shocked as she was at yarn, I was shocked that a cotton sweatshirt could cost that much. So it's funny how we all live in our little world. You know, my husband has not said 2 words about how much yarn I have since he started collecting bourbon. So it's all good. Let's see. So that was a nice way to celebrate a birthday. This morning I realized, so this is me. Please don't give me an angry comment about weight, body dysmorphia, medications for depression, or anything. I work out low and slow, like fat burning workout, 5 to 6 days a week. I walk my dogs for 40 minutes a day, at least 40 minutes a day, 7 days a week. And I do strength training 4 to 5 days a week. I am only putting on weight. And yes, I am a woman of a certain age, speaking of birthdays. All of a sudden it occurred to me that I didn't start putting on this weight until I switched to antidepressants. Like this morning, I was like, oh my gosh. Thinking back, like, why can't I lose any of this weight? Like, I eat right, I do all the things. And I was like, oh my gosh. So this is going to go into a rant. I actually just fired my doctor and I went back to a doctor I used to have when I had different insurance, because my doctor said I could have an e-visit to talk about my medications and my refills. And then when I got in for the e-visit, they said, oh, you have to be here in person. Because apparently my 20 grams of Ritalin that I take 4 days a week for work, that's a controlled substance, and who knows, I might be selling it or something. So I had to fire her. But then I realized, oh, I'm going to go back to my good doctor who like understands like the cycle of I need the antidepressant, but the antidepressant has helped me in putting on weight that my old one did not. I switched I think I switched right when I turned a certain age, so 2 years ago. And that's when I've been packing on the pounds, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And now I can talk to my doctor about the cycle that the antidepressant works just as well as my last one did. I don't feel it's working any better, but it's resulting in me feeling, I definitely am overweight, making me feel overweight and feel bad about being overweight and getting down about being overweight. So it's defeating the purpose of it. So I'm hoping I can find a different drug. I don't think I will go off of drugs entirely by any means. I would happily switch back to my old one. It's not going to help me lose weight. I definitely put on weight on that one, but this one I packed on weight. So so that's my deep thought of the day. And now I'm like super excited to see my doctor, my new old doctor. Also, she's a very good doctor. I felt like an old woman though, because my PCP that I picked with this insurance plan, because I wanted one on my hospital system because I like having all of my medical records easily accessed. So the practice my husband's at was not taking new patients, though his boss got in with his doctor. So I went to another one near me, one that was accepting patients, because family practice, no doctor wants to be a family practitioner. It sucks, you don't get reimbursed. But there are young women going into family practice because they're crazy. And I will say they are young. I actually had this doctor, the one I fired, who said, well, when I did see her in person last time, when she specifically said I could have a video visit to get my drug renewals, she said, well, you know, you need to be cautious because you know you can only take Ritalin until you're 65. I am now 52. Not worried about 65 for drugs. Worried about 65 to see if there's going to be Social Security and Medicare when I'm there, those sorts of things, but not really worried about my Ritalin intake over the next 13 years. So I was like, yeah, I'm not really concerned about that. She's like, well, I have some concerns about that. I'm like, really? I'm on like one of the lowest doses of Ritalin you can be on. I am a writer, a professional writer. Like, I need to be able to focus. So that is my rant, and I fired her, and I'm not going to, I'm going to go back to my contemporary, who's literally, she's my age, and she's wonderful, and she's nice and listens to you and all those sorts of things. So I'm thankful that I am a healthy person. I don't have any chronic conditions or anything like that other than depression and ADHD. So it's all good. A rave. February's done. It is congressional designated spending time. So work is picking up because we have to apply to all these senators and stuff. The House is not accepting any what we know as earmarks, but senators are, and my organization is looking to apply if they're going to give out federal grants. We would like to be getting some federal money, so I have to do those, and they are quick turnarounds and stressful, but nothing compared to everything I've been working on for the last month. February had so many deadlines, and I had a peer at work who was changing her mind about what we were going to apply for and all these things all the time, and I apologize, the garbage folks are here. So it was very, very stressful. We lost a dog in January, and it just went from like that all the way through to February, through all of February. And then when March 1st, when 5 o'clock on March 1st came and I had submitted my last grant and done everything for the month, I was just like so relieved. So it is spring almost. Daylight savings time is coming, and I am a huge fan of springing forward because even though the sun, what feels like 6 is now 7. I don't even know, but I know the sun is up later, and that's all I care about because I'm a morning person, and it's always dark when I get up. But to have it light out at 7 o'clock at night gives me energy, and I don't want to go to bed at 7 o'clock at night. Additionally, we have this lovely balcony off our kitchen, and I want to be able to sit out there in the evenings, and we have a fire pit, and I want to be able to enjoy that. So I am looking forward to the weather getting nicer and spring and all of those things. So those are my happy thoughts. Other than that, that's what's going on here. I did ask for a golden retriever for my birthday from my husband. I don't want 3 dogs. We have 2 dogs now. I don't want 3 dogs, but I want a golden retriever. And my husband's response was, you have to take care of it. Which I laughed because he doesn't walk the dogs. He doesn't do the things with the dogs. I take care of the dogs. But Larry never liked Penny. He loved her. He didn't really like her. He was jealous of her. So there will not be a 3rd dog coming into our house. But man, do I want a golden retriever, and we will be rescuing one when we get down to no dogs. I think we will be a single dog family, though, eventually. So that's what's going on here. Have a wonderful couple of weeks. Spread kindness like confetti, because that shit gets in everything, and you will never be able to vacuum it all out. Knit what you want, buy what you want, but if you buy it, use the yarn, drink the bourbon, and enjoy yourself. Sorry for the long one today. Not really sorry, but yeah, it was a long one, and I'll be back a couple weeks, hopefully with a shorter one. And my husband's car will be out of the shop. Talk to you later.